Welcome to another edition of Danny's Hot Takes. Today I'll be reviewing Vigilus Ablaze.
With Dave.
And John.
So let's dig into the meat of this book, boys.
I mean, it's paper.
Well, okay.
That's true.
It's so thick I can barely get my fingers around it. Alright, so...
How are you expecting me to keep this? Right.
So, let's start with the intro page to the Chaos section here. We're just going to go right into the rules.
Yeah. The meat of it.
The meat of it.
That other section, the lore and everything else is just too big to cover.
The missions seem really fun. Like, let's just like...
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really excited to try them out. I like the Demon Landscape rules, and like some of the missions seem like a good time. So, yeah, we'll definitely try and talk about that maybe a little bit later. Anyway, let's get into the actual rules. So, the start of it kind of details how to take a Chaos Army, how to take a specialist detachment, things like that, just like Vigilus 1. But they did update the Chaos Space Marine War Gear list, which they've also updated in the Chaos Space Marine Codex. Now, it's pretty much the same, pretty much. There's a couple of options in here that weren't in the original code, or that weren't in the original book. So number one, they've added a Thunderhammer to the list of melee weapons. So we did some research to see which units can actually take a Thunderhammer. So all the characters, or most all the characters, obviously, they can take any of the melee weapons. But also, so Fallen can take them, and also Chaos Chosen can take them as well.
Huh.
So you can kind of tool out those squads to be a little bit more badass. Because Thunderhammers, with Veterans of the Long War, is hella good. And so now Chaos gets Smash Captains.
Hooray!
Yeah, I didn't even think of it in that terms.
Oh, I did. As soon as you started talking about Thunderhammers, I was like, oh no.
So one of the things I was thinking of, aspiring or exalted champions get to reroll failed to wound rolls.
Yeah.
You can give them Thunderhammers.
Oh,
so
gross. That's
pretty cool, actually. So veterans with rerolling failed to wound rolls and a Thunderhammer seems like a good unit.
It's unique, and it's something Chaos should have had for a long time.
They should have the best melee characters. I think.
It doesn't make sense that... Well, it didn't make sense for...
Primaris. Primaris would be the best melee characters. After that, anybody can be whatever they want.
I think...
So we're telling jokes now.
Yeah,
pretty much every time we do this. Yeah.
All fiction. So the other thing that I noticed as well in here that they've added is they've given the option for Terminators to take a Chain Axe instead of their normal weapon. So this is cool because Chain Axes are a super cheap way to give your Terminators melee weapons and further decreases the cost of what's already now a way more effective unit now with the Beta Bolter rules.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So it drops each model by like a minimum of 3 points. So
I don't think I've ever seen a Chain Axe on the Terminator before.
I think some of the
older ones too. Yeah.
And one would assume with this War Gear list, the way it is, the new Terminator kit would have the options for Chain Axes. I think
it has to, because every single one of the Terminators, or their starting equipment, is a Chain Axe and Combi Bolter. So I would assume that all of them, that you would get the option to give them all Chain Axes, but we'll see.
Okay.
Alright, so let's move into some of the rules. Let's go Abaddon. So we've all seen Abaddon's rules via, or not his rules, but his profile,
right?
Which is the only thing that's changed about Abaddon. Okay. So his rules remain the same. He got +1 strength and +1 wound for the same number of points.
I think he's really lined up to kind of be like a mirror to Calgar here.
Oh, dude.
Stat-wise, so kind of he lines up pretty well. I saw
think
some
he
people
kicks the shit out of Calgar.
I think some people... well, we're not getting to the fluff part of it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, sure.
But I think some people, I saw complaints that he wasn't T6 because of the size of them, but if you look comparatively, Gulliman, a Primarch, in life support, like Major Plate, is a T6. So to put someone like Abaddon in there kind of...
Yeah, I don't know if that's right.
I think 5 is right for that. I mean, he's in Terminator armor.
And he still halves damage, so he effectively has 16 wounds against multi-damage weapons, which is amazing.
Yeah.
He still gives rerolls to hit, he still makes people auto-pass within 12, and he can, most importantly, unlike Calgar, he can still teleport.
Right.
So, granted, he is 40 points more expensive, but
I think he's actually worth it. I think his weapon profile, his weapons are actually better than Calgar's.
So yeah, the Talon of Horus I think is roughly the same as the fists, right? The shooting is roughly the same, but he also gets an extra D6 attacks with Drachnian.
Right.
And he's strength 6 with that now, and 3 flat damage instead of D3, which is rad.
Yeah, that's really good.
So that's actually another change. I didn't notice that before, but it is 3 flat damage. That's a big deal.
Yeah. A flat 3 every time? Yeah.
Heck yeah. I'll take that all day long. All right. So let's move on to the next page where we get Lord Discordant. So...
All right. Now, Danny...
No, yeah, this is
a brand new model, Danny.
It is.
And you have you were hoping. We were hoping when we talked about it in the last reveal or the last review that we did.
Sure.
That for God's sakes, please do not be more than 10 wounds.
Well, he is 12 wounds.
All right.
So that's kind of a bummer, right? A little bit.
Right.
I think you can do a bunch of stuff to increase his durability to make him playable, though. In that he can take any mark of chaos, so that means that you can give him like Tzeentch or Slanesh or Nurgle. So you can give him -1 to hit, or 5+ feel no pain, or +1 invulnerable save. And I think all of those options will help him because he's got toughness 6 with 12 wounds. He's got a 2-up armor save, which is great.
Yeah,
it's better than what I was thinking it was.
Yeah,
going to be based on
totally.
the model.
And like honestly, so he's a warpsmith, right? On there, he has the warpsmith keyword.
Right.
So any stratagems or anything like that that have to do with warpsmiths, he can take advantage of. In addition, he can heal himself or a friendly demon engine if he kills a vehicle.
And he
also gains a wound every turn.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, he has kind of like the standard demon engine room of the Inferno Regeneration. I think the thing that you wrote down here that stood out to me as well is just the sheer number of attacks this dude throws out. He's got 4 Impaler Chainglaive attacks, which are normally strength 6 -2 damage. But if he charges, he gets ×2 strength instead of +2, so that makes him strength 8. And then additionally, if he takes the Technovirus Injector, that's another strength 8 attack at -4 with D3 damage. And if you do a weapon or a wound against a vehicle with that, they automatically take D3 mortal wounds in addition to the damage. So that's a great weapon.
He's great against.
I think he's good against
mechanized armies.
Yeah, and like if you pop veterans on him again, like that's +1 to wound on all of his attacks. So he's wounding knights on 3s with most of his stuff. The other thing he gets is he gets 5 strength 7 attacks from his mount,
right?
Which are strength +3 -2 D3 damage apiece, which are great. You can also give him Legion traits because he's not bound to a particular Legion. So you can make him Alpha Legion if you want to get the -1 to hit from over 12 inches, which is rad. You can make him a Night Lord if you want to, and then you can pop points on a stratagem to give him a -1 to hit as well. So that's something that you can do to help keep him alive. And his points aren't atrocious. He's 160 points at the minimum cost. So that's with an autocannon instead of the Bale Flamer. So we can take a Bale Flamer, which is the same as on a Helldrake, which is a good weapon, right?
Short range, though, right?
18.
Okay.
It's an 18-inch flamer that's strength 6 -2 damage.
Sorry,
so
every time I hear flamer, I automatically assume 9 inches.
Yeah,
sure.
I think my favorite thing about him is the Technovirus Injector.
I think it's cool.
It's such a shitty little trick that doesn't look like much. It's a single attack, strength 8, but AP -4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does D3 damage. Now, if you do a single wound to a vehicle with this weapon,
right,
then it does a mortal wound on a 2+, I believe, right?
No, you don't. Not even on a 2+.
It's just a straight mortal wound.
If it's a vehicle, it does D3 mortal wounds. It only does it against vehicles.
So you're still having to hit and wound, and at strength 8, it's going to be a lot of 4s, 3s, but for a single attack to throw out there, it's...
As far as the degradation goes, too, he's good at that, because the only things that reduce are his movement speed and the number of extra attacks that he gets from his mount.
There's only 2 instead of the 3 usual kind of profiles of degradation as well.
Right. So, yeah, and they're not too bad. I mean, he's movement 12, so he's fast, which is great.
No, he's... When they said he needs to lead from the forefront, and that we were hoping he'd be under 10.
Sure.
But I think that he can still do that at 12. I don't feel like he's I don't feel like he's getting sniped right away. You know what I mean? Because there's so many other changes thanks to this book that It's not this, oh, look at this terrible threat we just got. Now you also have all these other threats.
One thing that I did just think of, when I did say that he gets a Legion, so he doesn't get Legion traits, though. I just thought about that, because he's not Infantry, Biker, or Hellbrute. So he won't get the -1 to hit for being Alpha Legion. But there's still all kinds of great stratagems that you can pop on him to make him even better.
And scuttle up the table.
Heck yeah.
12 inches a turn.
That's right.
Good stuff.
All right. One other thing that I'd like to note, too. So he gives himself +1 to hit. So for Death to the False Emperor, heave Death to the False Emperors himself on 5s. If you prescience, it's 4s. So that's kind of a cool trick that you can do with him a little bit, where you could get a bunch of extra attacks if you're attacking Imperial stuff.
Nasty.
All right, I love this little guy. So we've got the Master of Execution. So this is a brand new character that they just previewed today on the GW website.
Yesterday. Friday.
Oh, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Technically, yesterday we're recording. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, sorry.
So something I've seen is people aren't super hyped on him. I think there's been a lot of
snap judgments like crazy on this guy.
Snap judgments like crazy on this guy. Why would you take him? Like all this other stuff. But this guy is legitimately a really good bargain for what he does.
Yeah.
He's a little beatstick. I like him quite a bit. Yeah, 70 points.
I mean, he's a very solid character that can go easily right in the middle of all your troops and move up the field.
Sure.
He's someone you could even use defensively because of his heroic intervention rate.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He can kind of protect some units that you don't want to...
For sure, especially if they throw a character into him. And that can be an unexpected thing where you say, okay, well, I get to move him 6 inches. And he gets to... the cooler thing, and this is like really tricky, his consolidation move is 6 inches towards the nearest character, not the nearest enemy. So you can do some crazy wraparound shit with him where you can consolidate, like, out of combat.
Because you're still moving towards the nearest character.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Even if that character is like a company commander in a ruin in the back of the field.
Sure.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah. No, I even like the model. You know, that was a lot of people were saying they didn't like the model. I think GW previewed the wrong stuff for this guy. I think everybody got the wrong idea from him. You know what I mean?
Oh, my bad. I read this wrong. I thought it was the same as the...
That's it. Video's over. Cut
sorry,
the whole thing.
Sorry, my bad. I thought he was the same as the Locust from Genestealer Cult, but it's not. He just gets a 6-inch heroic intervention against characters. Still great. Still great.
Yeah.
6-inch heroic intervention is no joke, and don't forget things like knights that are characters are still freaking characters. Yep. So, and unless they declare him as a charge target, they don't get to attack.
And he's no slouch against knights.
No, he's strength 8 with 5 attacks.
Yep.
And anytime you roll a 6+ to wound, he does an additional mortal wound to his damage. So, again...
Yeah, I like that nice little added effect there. You know, they put a lot of stuff in to even that out, you know?
Right. So, which is awesome. So, and it's a 6+. There's a lot of 6+ in this book, this update that I'd like to talk about. So those things all stack together, right? So things like prescience on 6+ to hit, veterans on 6+ to wound. There's some prayers and stuff that are 6+ that are additional +1 to wound, which we'll get to in a minute here. But you can really stack this stuff. So I can see this guy doing mortal wounds on 4s to wound. Yep. Like pretty easily if you stack the right stuff on him.
Now, like I've been seeing in some forums some week when people were reacting to these things, these guys in a vacuum might not be great, but with the rest of the stuff that's coming here, they're really some nasty combos out there.
Totally
Huge. So all right, so moving on, and this guy takes up 2 whole pages of rules by himself, and to me, the Dark Apostle is probably the best thing that's coming out of this update.
Oh, so there was a lot of concern with the way the rules to prayers were changing. Some other stuff was kind of going on there. So what makes the Dark Apostle so great?
Utility. So the Dark Apostle has amazing utility. I assume they're going to rule for so we play ITC mostly for our events. I assume that you will get to pick your prayers per game instead of when you're writing your army list. So the prayers that they have, and there are 11 different prayers. Your guy is going to know 2 or 3 of them.
Oh, you're right. There is 11. I'm sorry. When first time I saw it, I was thinking there were 10. But you're right, because he starts with 1.
Because he starts with 1. Right. So that makes 11, right? And the prayers so first of all, as far as stats go, he's a little bit better than he was, because before he just had a power maul, and now he has an Accursed Crozius, so that's 2 damage weapon instead, which is awesome. Otherwise, his stats didn't really change, and he got he got his little buddy helpers, which are Dark Disciples, which are awesome.
Yeah. Oh, the points giver uppers.
Really? I don't think so.
Oh,
what do you mean?
Well, it's just 2 guys by themselves. I think they suffer from the same thing like the Inquisition. What's the words I'm looking for?
I would agree. Like the Acolytes?
Yeah, the Acolytes.
Sure, I would agree with you, but
you're completely wrong.
They have the they have the followers rule. So as long as they're within 2 inches of any friendly Dark Apostles, you can't shoot at them unless they're the closest.
That's
target.
Amazing. That's almost like they thought of that in advance. I know.
Weird.
So what I was thinking, new ITC secondaries, right? They have engineers.
Oh, that's such a shitty thing.
So like they're not going to be doing anything anyway. So why not just have them engineer something?
Oh, that's great.
And you can't shoot at them, and they're not characters, so they can still be taken for that role.
Yep.
That's really dirty.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
It.
No.
And the models are awesome.
And one of them's holding a book on his back, and that's his life. That's both bleeding on a fire.
And a cage face.
Yeah. One half of the models are awesome. I really like the dude that's swinging that looks like he's just struggling with the big burning brazier. Like, come on, Todd, this is your big moment. You finally not holding the book today. Today you've got this thing.
You made it to the battle.
Just swing this thing in time and don't hit yourself this time like last time. Just keep yourself alive. You can do this, buddy. You know, it's just that's the determination on his face. The other guy, you can't tell what he's singing. The only thing he's singing is
You mean Eeyore?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sad. I can basically
Just
see a rain cloud on his head. Yeah. Oh, I have
join
a
the
cage
dark
face.
gods, they said. See exciting things, they said.
So looking at your notes here, Danny, under prayers, you just wrote...
Whoa, don't give away the notes thing.
You wrote, holy shit. Under A, which I'm assuming is the first prayer. So, do you want to go ahead and explain?
I just wanted to emphasize how awesome the prayers were.
Oh, good. Okay. I thought there was like a specific prayer that was just like, holy shit.
Do you like my joke there? That's also a joke, because he's a dark apostle. Yeah. All right. So, if he takes a mark of a particular god, he has a prayer in addition.
Edit in sad trombone noise. Okay, got it.
Don't give away that there's notes, Dave.
So,
oh, you did that already. It's too late.
All the god-specific prayers basically buff him. They make him better. So, Tzeentch lets him heal. Khorne lets him get some bonus strength. Nurgle is +2 toughness. Slaanesh is advantage at charge. So they're okay. I don't know that I don't know if I would cast them super often, unless I was in like a pretty sticky situation.
All right.
However,
the demon prayers, that is.
Yeah, the god specific prayers.
However, some of the other prayers I've noticed
are money.
Yeah.
Right. So, benediction of the dark gods, 6 inches. Pick a legion unit, -1 to hit from ranged weapons. Omen of Potency gives him +3 attacks and gives him AP -4. That's sick. That makes him 6 attacks. And if you're playing Word Bearers and you give him the Accursed Crozius, that makes him Strength 6 -4 AP because it also gives him AP -4 with 3 flat damage apiece. He becomes kind of badass. Warp Sight Plea is +1 to hit with ranged weapons for a friendly unit within 6. Soul Terror Portent, which is probably the best of them, I think, is pick a unit within 6 and they get +1 to wound with melee weapons.
That's still good.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
It's not as good as with shooting weapons, but, I mean, it means you got to be right up there with them.
Sure.
Which is probably going to be alright.
But looking at some of these prayers and the way he's loaded out, you're going to want him up there with him.
So think about this combo.
Oh.
8 Chosen with Thunderhammers, charge a Knight, right?
We'll call this knight Steve Dave.
Right. So Steve Dave is thinking I've got a good day. Like, oh, whatever. These stupid idiots are hitting.
Look at me just Reaper chain sorting these cultists.
Yeah. I'm gonna stomp these guys up. Oh wait, these guys have Thunderhammers. We're gonna give them +1 to wound with a prayer. Oh yeah. Then when we're attacking, let's pop a Veterans of the Long War on these little badasses. Oh, now we're Strength 8 with +2 to wound, so we're wounding the knight on 2s. Have a nice day.
Oh, that young flat damage.
And then also, you can give him you can make him a custom force field. To give a 5-up impulse save within 6 inches.
Is that wholly within 6 or just within 6?
Models within 6 inches get a 5-up impulse.
Oh, okay.
All right, so
this also affects tanks. So
the invuln?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Operation Human Shield here, protect our tanks and planes too. You can do that.
Y'all's tanks just don't come with involved saves automatically.
So you could do that on your Land Raiders, on your Predators, Vindicators. Yeah, that seems kind of cool.
All right. So the only thing is each prayer can only be used once per game.
False.
That's
Each prayer can be used once per battle round.
okay. I misread that then. I thought
Just
it said
because
once per
your
game.
games don't make it to turn 2 doesn't mean these prayers change.
I mean, for Dave, that might be true.
My bad. I usually have won by then, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, okay.
See, I didn't say you won or lost.
Cool. The problem is that he does only know one prayer in addition to Dark Zealotry, and he also knows one of the God prayers if you dedicate him to a particular god. So you have to pick the one that's going to be right for the right game, and that can be extremely tricky.
Right.
So, and you want him to be with close to the Dark Disciples, so it goes off on it too.
Yeah. No, that's the other thing about the Dark Disciples is that +1 to your roll. Huge.
Yeah. The other thing that you have to watch out for is you can't do it within transports or affect models within transports. So the models have to be on the table at the start of the battle round. So you can't deep strike in and then pop a targeted prayer on a unit.
Okay.
So something to think about there as well. All right, moving on. We have Chaos Space Marines and Terminators. No, neither of these units changed a ton. Basically, Chaos Space Marines, their weapon options got a little bit more limited. I don't think they can take as many heavy and special weapons as they used to be able to. They can basically take one heavy and special weapon for, if you have 10 or more models, they can take 2.
So they're kind of similar to like a tactical squad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can take 20 of them, and that will become important later on.
Ooh. Spoilers.
Yeah,
So watch
spoilers.
the end of the video, guys.
Yeah, spoilers. A 20-man unit of Chaos Space Marines might be something that you want to take now.
Oh, I can't wait till we get to the spoiler part.
All right. So Terminators. Terminators are awesome. I think they become so much better in this edition, especially with Chaos. Because again, like I keep bringing it back to this, like Veterans of the Long War is one of the most tactical, best stratagems in the game. It's pure brute force, and it's amazing. Because it makes Terminators, like a 10-man unit of Terminators, Slanesh Terminators specifically, into the best chaff clearing unit in the game, like hands down. Right? So they come in, or they start on the table. They fire off 40 shots with veterans, so they're wounding like chaff on 2s or 3s. Okay. Then they do that again with the Endless Cacophony stratagem.
All right.
So that's gross. Especially if you can buff them with Prescience to Ballistic Skill 2 up, and then reroll once from a Chaos Lord. Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, Beta Bolters have been really kind to Terminators.
Heck yeah. Well, about time. So, if you give your Terminators Chain Axes and Commie Bolters, they're 29 points a model.
That seems really low. Really low.
So that means that you can take a full 10-man unit for 290 points, and I think that is a steal of a deal.
And that thing is doing, like, dropping down, possibly, and with a couple command points, and the Marcus Slanesh doing, like, 80 bolter shots.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Terminators, the new aggressors.
So, and they can still do all the same stuff as they used to. They have the same basic rules. I actually think the Chain Axes are even a decent weapon for them. They're +1 strength, -1 AP. So I mean, they're still good.
They're still good.
Yeah,
still very good.
Strength 5 is a great stat.
Now, I will say here, moving on.
Yeah.
Another one of your notes that you provided.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Holy shit balls. Which I think is none of us expected this change for this
Havocs, right?
Havocs.
Like, who expected this to be such a changed unit from where it was? So Havocs are now limited 5 models flat. You can't take more.
So what? So
I think they're great.
They got so much better.
T5. Heck yeah. Why?
Yeah, why?
Why not? Why not? Did you see their armor though? They have like Gorgets and stuff. Like they're armored to the teeth.
It looks like what happened is the new Havoc models were made by GW's wonderful miniature design team, and they got handed off to the rules people and like, oh well, shit, we can't. Okay, T5, I guess.
I kind of think they might be on 40s.
On 40s.
Oh yeah,
too?
no. Yeah, looking at it, they look like they could easily.
So
be 40s.
I think they're bigger.
So yeah, bigger Havocs, bigger toughness. The other huge change for Havocs.
stabilization talents.
So good.
Yeah, they can move
Oh
and
my
shoot
God.
heavy weapons with no penalty.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's amazing. So this comes into play for their new shooting weapon, which is the Reaper chain cannon.
The Reaper chain gun.
Yeah,
The Reaper chain gun, which is not listed in this weapon profile.
it's not, but
It's an option you can add later.
yep. So so first of all, Havoc's points are only 14 points a model. So
Well, that seems totally fair.
it seems really legit. Now, every single model has to take a heavy weapon, so all 4 models. There's no bolter buddies in here, right? So you're not going to get away with like 2 heavy weapons and nothing else. And the champion, he also...
You can take a
He starts with a flamer.
Oh, but he can swap it for like a bolt pistol if you want to. That's fine.
So make
That's
it
great.
cheaper?
Yeah, or you can give him a special weapon.
Yeah.
So you can give him a plasma gun like he's pictured in this entry, or a melta gun if you want to, or whatever, whatevs.
Neat.
You can also so every model has to take a heavy weapon. They all come with either las cannons or heavy bolters, and they can swap those for missile launchers, autocannons, or the new Reaper chain cannon. So the Reaper chain gun is 24 inches, 8 shots, strength 5, -1 AP.
So it's almost exactly like the Onslaught Gatling cannon that they made, which is which is like a heavy bolter.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's pretty accurate because that's 8 shots as well, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
6 and 12 for the two different
Oh, okay.
versions. But
Well, it's right in between then.
yeah, so I mean, it's shorter range than the bigger one.
Sure.
It's actually shorter range than both, I believe.
Okay.
But honestly, like the mobility of this unit, being able to move
so-
and shoot.
Right, and there's still 6-inch movement.
Right, their toughness, everything about this, they're just so versatile now.
Can you put them in a drop pod?
Yeah. A Dreadclaw.
Yeah.
But you'll have to play Forge World stuff for it. But I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world.
No.
They can walk out from behind a wall and stay in cover, and then hit on. You can prescience them or use the Dark Apostle if you have that guy hanging out next to him. So to give him.
You're walking behind a Dark Apostle,
Sure.
wounding tanks in 2s and 3s.
Sure.
Now you keep saying prescience, Danny. That's
a basic psychic power from the Chaos book, and that's +1 to hit.
from the Malefic Discipline.
Nope, from the Chaos Space Marine, the Heretic Discipline.
Hereticus. Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify that for anyone
that's fair.
that may not know.
Yeah, sure. It's a great psychic power. If you've ever played against Chaos, it's probably one of the most useful ones that they can have. And then so the Reaper chain. So if you had 4 of those, 32 shots, strength 5, -1, wounding on 3s against most like light infantry, or 2s if you veterans them. Mm-hmm. So
Disgusting.
yeah. Or instead of prescience, you can also use that Dark Apostle power to give them +1 to hit with ranged weapons. So you can have a guy that's dedicated to buffing them.
Or instead of veterans, you can do both. You can do prescience and
Heck
Helm.
yeah, why not?
I mean, is it possible to stack +3 to?
You can get +2 to hit.
Okay.
I don't know how you get
Veterans
to
is
+3.
+1
+1 to wound.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is cool because those 32 shots wound knights on force if you veterans of the Long War.
Yeah. No, that's
Which is an interesting tactic. All right, and then we get to John's favorite unit.
Stargate! Oh my gosh, I'm so hyped for this unit that I'm like trying to take stuff out of my like Death Guard list to fit this thing in. Even though it has no functional value to me. But it does.
You have Psychers?
Yeah. It has a surprising amount of value. A lot of the fortifications we've seen from the Orc Codex to the Knight Codex to the G-Sailor Cult Codex have been great looking models. Maybe not so great in the table. Maybe not so fantastic rules-wise.
they've
I think
gotten
this
better.
thing is not bad.
This thing is pretty good.
Well, so it's like they listen to feedback from all the other ones, because the Mechboy Forge or Workshop is an awesome model and sounds like it should be amazing, but you got to sacrifice a turn of X in order to get better.
Sure.
Plus, you have to do it on your side of the field. You have to drive to it, So it's
Right.
kind of like eh. And the Sacristine Forge Shrine is great for Knight guys, but you have to walk all the way back to it to get healed up. And
Right.
So you're not going to make it unless you're standing in it, fighting from there.
And then you're not shooting, which is sad.
But this Mother Hubbard right here has a 24-inch bubble. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a big bubble.
If you put him at the front of your lines, he's effectively controlling a lot of the psychic phase. Unless maybe if you go up against Eldar, sure.
So,
not
John,
much
why
of
don't
that.
you tell us what that 24-inch bubble does?
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm jumping in on you here, Danny.
No, you're fine.
No.
24-inch bubble. It turns any doubles rolled for a psychic power into perils.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yes.
If you put it like right in the front of your deployment zone, like if you do like a spearhead or things like that, that cuts off the majority of the table.
If you're within 6 inches of this bad boy, you make Eldar Warlocks life hell.
Yep.
Right? Because they're often going to perils, and Eldar Warlocks do not like the perils. They like to die from perils.
Right.
Yeah.
So getting doubles is pretty deadly to low wound psychers.
And that really helps against things like Conceal from Eldar Warlocks, all of the buffing powers from Warlocks.
Or Jinx.
Or anything like that. That's going to really make people think twice, or at least burn through command points.
Right.
To stopping this.
To reroll that stuff.
Yeah.
So, plus they have a hard time getting that power off anyway, so often they're spending the CP to reroll to a value, and then you're even more likely to, I don't know,
Yeah, it's just super good. Also gives out a 5+ invulnerable when you pull it within 6 inches of it. Start your Obliterators in there. Oh, no, they already have an invulnerable. Start your Havocs in there. You know, just kind of some stuff.
That increases.
Yeah.
Both things. So, the reroll psychic tests and the 5+ invul save increase by 3 inches on turns 2 and 3.
So it starts out at
6.
6, and then it goes.
So the Psyker power is 24. But
Always.
Yeah.
But
the invuln, right?
Yes.
6 inches turn 1, here. 9 inches turn 2, 12 inches turn 3.
And that also.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that also lets all of your Chaos Psychers within that distance reroll failed psychic tests.
Yep. So, hey, cultists I brought back with command points that now have a 5+ invulnerable in the backfield objectives. How you doing?
I'm sorry, it's not reroll failed psychic tests, it's just reroll psychic tests.
Yeah, you can reroll. So if you smite...
Man, Magnus is going to love this shit.
I mean, if he survives turn 1. But... it's great. 3+ save, toughness 8, 14 wounds.
It also has a 5+ invul.
I was going to say, it's got 5+ invul from itself.
From itself.
Right.
For 100 points.
Yeah, for 100 points. Oh, and it shoots.
Oh yeah, it has a pistol.
I mean... Yeah,
you don't stand in the iris of the Stargate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's bad. It's bad news. You don't want to do that.
The pistol is powerful. It's not just like, oh, it shoots a little shocky thing.
It's almost like a supercharged plasma pistol.
If you get within 6 of it, you're getting hurt.
Well, it's still a 4+. D6 shots, strength 7.
But hey, not bad.
Oh, so if I'm playing it, it's 1 shot.
For fortification, though, it's a pretty good gun. It's a better hit than normal fortifications by themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's
better to hit roll than Twilight.
And it's cool looking.
I'm
very hype for Stargate.
It's good.
All right.
So they put updated profiles for both Skulltaker and Bloodmaster. I can't figure out what the change is.
Oh, it's the picture right there.
Oh, okay. Those are new models.
New models, yeah.
It's got the new models.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good. Both those models are cool. The Skull Altar, though, interesting. There's a couple of things on it that I think are good. Right, that's brand new.
Yeah, okay.
They ported over from AOS for the... Or maybe they ported it into AOS from 40K. So it has some cool abilities. It has Champion of Murder. If a Khorne Demon infantry character's base is...
Hold on. John,
yes.
Are you looking at the top page here of... Oh, no, wait, maybe that's not it. I flipped to the wrong one. Okay. I flipped to the one that says, Jesus! And I went, really? The altar's that good, Danny?
No, it's something different.
Spoilers.
All right. So, it has the Champion of Murder rule, so you can put a Khorne Demon infantry character on it, and then it improves his invulnerable save by 1 to a maximum of 3, which is cool. But, more importantly, while a Khorne Demon unit is wholly within 16 inches of it, add 1 to the attack characteristics of all the models in the unit. So, like your Bloodletter Bomb that you deep strike in, if you have one of these, if you're deep striking close to the enemy, +1 attack for the entire unit is sick.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah. So giving a bunch of bonus attacks on Bloodletters is amazing, or Skull Crushers, or whatever else you have. Now, what I found to be interesting in this... Oh, you can also do things just like the Nurgle Tree, so you get to reroll summoning for Khorne units within 8 inches of it, and you subtract 1 from Psychic tests within 8 inches of the Skull Altar.
Okay.
Now...
Ooh.
And one more thing. You increase the Locus of Rage ability to 12 inches instead of 6 when the model's on top of it. So like your Heralds on top of it, they increase their Locus to 12 inches, which is cool. Because that helps to buff the strength of everything around it.
Yeah, it does. That's nice.
Now, you can summon this somehow. It doesn't have the demonic summoning rule, but it makes like, but it makes reference to it. It says
It's a demon.
But it needs the summoning keyword.
But you have to have the demonic ritual rule here normally to summon it. But it says if a skull altar is summoned using a demonic ritual, and set it up with its, you set it up with its base touching the base of a Khorne demon infantry character that performed the ritual. You can immediately place that character on the skull altar.
Now, is this something where maybe open play or match play is like or different rules?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I just think that maybe they missed that in the top of it. So that makes me wonder if they mean
putting in the demonic summoning keywords.
I figured they just meant to put in the demonic ritual special rule in the abilities.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The other cool thing about this, you can't destroy it.
Oh, now I really.
It has no stats.
Now I really want to walk around and just summon a bunch of these to the board. Oomph, oomph.
Sure.
Oomph. Just pop.
You can't put them on objectives, and they have to be set up more than 1 inch from other terrain. But putting it in the middle of the board gives that 16-inch bubble a +1 attack for Khorne demons.
Mm-hmm. Pretty
huge. Solid. So, and keep in mind that's Khorne demon units, not Khorne demon like from the Demon Codex. So that's Catan, that's Lord of Skulls, that's all the demon engines.
I was gonna say that's Greater Possessed have the demon.
Sure.
If you're
Possessed. So any of that stuff. So some cool kind of rules combinations with that as well.
If they fix the summoning thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
if they don't fix the summoning thing,
it's still good.
I think that'll be kind of like a day one errata. That's what I expect.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they give it a whole rule to reference that, right? And the price point is pretty cheap. I think it's 75 points. I can just look on the next page here.
Yeah, let's look at the next page with the points.
I'm sorry, it's 100 points. So, yeah, still not bad.
Okay.
So you can just reserve 100 points to summon it or something like that. That'd be great. So points values. I think we went over most of this stuff here. Yeah.
Nothing really changed. We didn't...
Nope. Master's Executions is 70 points. I don't know if I mentioned that. And the Dark Apostle is 100, and his Disciples are 5 each. So that's 110 points.
Actually. 100 might be just a hair too much for him, but I'm not exactly...
I don't think so. I think he's really great.
Yeah?
I think he makes Chaos combos stupidly powerful. Potentially.
From what you've shown us so far today... Everything becomes stupidly powerful with the right combination. So
that's right. Mostly with veterans and long march.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a solid addition to your weakened Heretic Astartes.
This is almost like this whole thing right here. The last section of this book is almost a redo of the Chaos Space Marine book. Like it adds to the power of this book so immensely, especially once we get into the specialist formations, which I think are very powerful, and then the Renegade rules, which I think are even better. So. Yep.
Nice.
All right, so moving on. I got some great little picture here. I never noticed that this guy's servo skull was like hiding in his jacket.
Because he's a wuss.
He is a wuss. All right, so let's talk about specialist detachments.
This is the thing that everybody's come here to see.
I think so.
How are they gonna wreck face now?
A lot of this stuff a lot of the ones that we're going to talk about today have already been previewed by GW. So I'm going to kind of briefly touch on some of the stuff that you haven't seen yet. So Bringers of Despair, we've looked at what gets it. It's Black Legion Terminator units, and then they get the Brutal Subjugation rule, which helps to influence enemy morale by killing models in close combat.
Right.
And you also saw Chosen of the Warmaster, which is a great ability which makes a guy into a mini Abaddon. Awesome.
Yeah,
right?
Very good. Solid.
Foe Cleaver is the relic, which is a great relic. It's an axe with +3 strength and D3 damage, and it gets +1 to hit rolls against models against Imperium units. And you think, well, whatever, that's kind of dumb. Like, why do I care if my character whose weapon skill 2 up gets +1 to hit? Well, sir, let me tell you.
Sir.
He has Death of the False Emperor. So that's a 6+ to hit, gives him an extra attack. So if he gets +1 to hit, then that means he Death of the False Emperors on 5s. So, and you can make it 4s with prescience. So a pretty nice little thing there. That could be a whole boatload of attacks. The other thing that they get is a new stratagem called Chosen Enforcers. Use this stratagem when a friendly Heretic Astartes unit is within 18 inches of a Bringers of Despair unit from your army is required to take morale test, they auto-pass. So it gives you an auto pass at 18 inches for free, or for 1. And it also doesn't use up your other auto pass. So you could potentially spend 3 CP and auto pass 2 units.
Oh, that's pretty good.
You could also do this on a unit of cultists. That's pretty powerful.
At 1 man and then get to bring them back or whatever?
Heck yeah, for 1 CP. That's nice. That's definitely a savings. And CP and Chaos, so the extra CP that you save is an extra Veterans of the Long War. I mean, that's the way I look at it, man. All right, so the next one is the Devastation Battery. So this is Obliterators, Havocs, Chaos Lords, and Warpsmiths. So they previewed Armorbane. They previewed Wall Breakers. The new relic is Demon's Eye. So you get to pick a unit within 6, and they get to ignore cover, which is nice. You can do that every turn. It's decent, right? And then they also have Punishing Volley, which is use at the end of your opponent's first movement phase. If you didn't have the first turn, pick a Devastation Battery from your unit. They get to shoot as if it were the shooting phase.
So the Devastation Battery was the Obliterators?
Yeah.
Okay. And Havocs.
And Havocs. So you can shoot them on the first turn, and punish your opponent for that.
Oh, adding Havocs
as is the Punishing
Having
Volleys.
now seen the new Havoc stuff.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, especially if you give them all las cannons or something like that. Getting a 4-shot las cannon volley for 1 CP is pretty good. Next, we have Call to the Damned. This one's okay. This one is for Dark Apostles, Dark Disciples, so as helpers, and also Chaos Cultists. I don't know if they preview this one. I don't think that they do.
No.
So the Warlord trait is reroll failed charge rolls for friendly Cult of the Damned units within 6 inches of him. And then you get a book that is a flamer that does D3 damage, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
That'll be that Bleeding Fire book.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
And then you got Ritual Offerings. So if a Chaos Cultist unit kills a model in melee, you can use a stratagem and they become immune to morale for the rest of the game.
Wait, a Chaos Cultist model?
Unit.
Oh, unit?
So if you kill a model in melee, like you charge them in, and you kill a Gaunt, you pop that stratagem, they're immune to morale for the rest of the game.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
I mean, so Chaos Cultists. But it means you free Abaddon up a little bit to kind of wander off, do other things.
Do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And then they also have Chorus of the True Faith. When a Dark Apostle uses a prayer, if there's any Chaos Cultists within 6, you can add 1 to the dice to the results of the prayer. So you can use that to do your prayer on a 1+. So it means you auto pass.
Well, no, because the 1 is always a fail according to their dice rolls. So.
No, that's to hit. This is just a dice roll.
Well, the plus side, that means you can save on if you didn't want to take the his little Dark Disciple bros with him.
Sure.
Then
or they're dead or whatever else.
Yeah, then you can definitely still buff him.
So it just says on a 3-up the prayer is heard. So it doesn't say that on a 1 it fails.
Oh no, that's a generic BRB rule.
For to hit rolls, armor saves, all that kind of stuff, I don't think that there is a rule that says 1s automatically fail always.
Okay. Well, I'm sure comment section will let us know.
Yeah, sure.
Very quickly.
Yeah, let us know, guys.
Oh, they will.
All right. Anyway, or you can just do it on a 2+ if you've lost your buddies or they're not around anymore because they're being engineers somewhere. All right. So, Demonkin Ritualist. Now, this formation is badass.
You can say it's hella good, baby.
Hella good bit. Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Yeah, my notes are great. So this is for Dark Apostles, Dark Disciples, Masters of Possession, Possessed, and Greater Possessed units. The Warlord trait is awesome. Each time you roll an unmodified wound roll of 6 for an attack made by a melee weapon from them within 6 inches of your Warlord, that attack inflicts 1 mortal wound in addition to its normal damage. So if you have a ton of attacks from Possessed, gross.
Mm-hmm. Like Slanesh Possessed?
Sure. Why Slanesh?
I don't know.
Okay.
Slash says it shoots twice. Corn would be the fight twice.
Right.
Yep, that's true. Or if you pop the thing that lets you reroll the dice on the Slanesh Possessed from the Master of Possession from the Malefic lore, that could be good.
Yeah.
So you get 3 attacks per model, which would be pretty nice. And then you can use the Vessels for the Neverborn stratagem. So pick a demonic ritualist demon unit from your army that is within 6 inches of a demonic ritualist Master of Possession. Add 1 to the strength and attack characteristics of models you picked. So this means that with the Greater Possessed, they become Strength 6. With this, they become Strength 7. I'm sure that there's lots of other ways that you can buff the strength of these models. Plus, you can give them up to +2 to wound. So you can just make them absolute blenders with this, with a ton of attacks. So...
Go buy more Shadow Spears, boys.
And then you can also kill one of the possessed to heal your character D3 wounds from this formation, which is neat.
Yeah.
Also, you can the relic is the burning rod, which is a force staff. At the end of each fight phase, you can pick a unit within 1 inch. That unit suffers a mortal wound.
Nice.
So, kind of nice. All right, so next we've got the Soulforged pack. This one's okay. This is Warpsmiths and Demon Engine units. The Warlord trait is +2 the movement value of friendly Demon Pack engines within 6 inches of them, which is nice. The Relic is a special mecha tendrils. Okay. So that means basically instead of getting +2 attacks for the model, you get you get 1 attack for each enemy unit model within 1 inch of the bearer. So if they pile in a bunch of orc boys around like your
Lord Discordant.
Yeah. You can get a ton of strength 5 attacks.
That seems pretty decent.
Yeah, pretty good.
It doesn't suck.
No, definitely not. Then you can let's see here. You can double the wounds characteristic of a model to help it fight better. So it goes up on its wound chart. So it counts
kind of like Hawkshroud.
Yeah, kind of like that. Exactly like that. And then you can also make one of the demon engines of this formation run and charge. Keep in mind this is for demon engines. And not just demon engines from Codex Chaos Space Marines. So if you have Forge World units, like the Catan or the Lord of Skulls or...
Well, Lord of Skulls is a regular unit. It's not a Forge
World. Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, it's also super heavies. Let's put it that way. So being able to run and charge with them could be pretty cool. Adding +2 inches to the movement is pretty cool. So you've definitely got some options here that you can use.
Hard agree.
Yep. So you have the Host Raptorial as the next one, and this one is actually my favorite detachment of the entire book, mostly because I like raptors and that kind of stuff. They're pretty cool.
Well, they've been pretty lackluster up until now.
Heck, yeah, totally. So, Warp Talon's got a nice points drop in Chapter Approved. They're only 24 points a model right now for a model with a pair of Lightning Claws, and no Overwatch when they Deep Strike. So they previewed, I think they previewed both of the stratagems. Basically, you can get a reroll to hit for melee weapons, or if you kill a unit with one of them, you subtract 1 from the leadership characteristics of units within 6 inches of any Host Raptorial units.
Okay.
What they didn't preview, though, was the tip of the Claw of the Warlord trait, which is absolutely massive. Add 2 to the charge. Add 2 to charge roll. Yeah, well, not for you, buddy. So add 2 to charge rolls made for friendly Host Raptorial units while they're within 6 inches of your Warlord. So you Deep Strike in with all of your jump pack units, because this is any jump pack unit from Chaos Space Marines.
Okay, so you're Deep Striking in with your Harken Herald World Eater.
Yeah, okay, sure.
And as your Warlord, and
if you wanted to use him, if that was your plan, you could also use any Chaos Space Marine Lord with a jump pack. Or a Chaos Sorcerer with a jump pack. Those both can be used. Also, any Warp Talon unit. So I was thinking like 3 units of Warp Talons with your Chaos Lord. Maybe make them Night Lords, so you can give a bunch of debuffs to leadership. Deep Strike them in, and then charge at 7s to any unit within range, and they'll chop stuff up and potentially debuff leadership. But a 7-inch charge on Deep Strike is pretty legit.
Yeah, really.
So. You also have the Chiroptian Wings, which is roll a d6 for each enemy unit that was moved across by the bearer in the movement or charge phase, which is weird. They must have written this before they made the change to fly.
I was going to say, that's a weird...
On a 4+, they take D3 mortal wounds.
Okay.
Which is...
So is that only in the charge phase?
No.
No, it's in movement or charge.
So if you could do it in the regular movement phase.
Absolutely.
You just can't do it in the charge phase.
So you could even advance and move up to 16 inches or 18 inches over stuff, and whatever you move across on a 4-up, they take D3 mortals.
And that's everybody in this unit, or is that a specific relic?
It's a character. It's a relic.
Okay. Basically turn a character into a Dreadclaw drop pod.
Sure.
As it flies around.
I forgot what Dreadclaws do, so probably.
It's the one that
Smash Captain.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Smash Captain takes some D3 mortals. It's pretty nice. Yeah. All right, next we have the Fallen Angels detachment. So for all of you Dark Angels players who don't like the Imperium, you can play this instead. So you take this as a
all
Vanguard?
Dark Angels players.
Wrong. You are wrong, sir. Dark Angels are as loyal as the driven snow. I don't even know if that's a... Anyway.
Snow is very loyal.
It is loyal. All right. So, anyway, so Fallen Angels, it's a Vanguard detachment for Fallen. And you can also take Rhinos and Chaos Sorcerers as a part of it. So it lets you take them as Fallen units. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And part of that is tied into some of the fluff that's in the actual book. I don't know if you got a chance to read it, but there is a Fallen Librarian who leads the Fallen on Vigilus.
Cool.
So, you know, it makes sense that they've done that.
They previewed without a trace, which is -1 to hit for a unit. They didn't preview Ancient Enmity, which is good against Dark Angels when you're fighting them. They also have a Warlord trait, which they previewed, which is like if you're close to Cypher, you can mess with command point regen, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
And they also have the Caliban Steel Blade, which is a cool force sword, I think.
Yeah.
It's a force sword that is normal stats, but any wound rolls of D6 or of 6+ are damage D6 damage.
Wow. All right, so that's pretty solid.
Yeah. So again, you could pop veterans on that bad boy. Make those on 5s. So that's pretty cool. The final one that we have is the Legion of Skulls. Now this is only for Bloodletters. You can use it on any Khorne Demon unit detachment, but it only affects the Bloodletters in said detachment.
Okay.
So the Warlord trait is for a Bloodletter Warlord, so a Herald or something similar.
One of the two new models.
Yeah.
Sure, right. It could be Skulltaker.
Yeah.
Add 1 to your Warlord's attack characteristic. In addition, if there are any enemy characters within 6 of your Warlord, add another 1 to your Warlord's attack characteristic. So he becomes pretty choppy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have the Gore Plate as the Relic. Roll d6 at the end of the fight phase if any enemy models were slain by him, adding 2 if the result was if the slain model was a character. On a 4-up, the bearer regains D3 wounds. Kind of nice.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Brazen Skull, basically you get to throw a skull at people. That does...
Aren't you supposed to give skulls to Khorne, not throw skulls away from
No,
Khorne?
Brazen Skulls is when he's mad. Khorne throws skulls when he's mad. I don't know if you knew that. That's in
Really?
the fluff, dude.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was one of the results of the Warpstorm table before. He threw skulls at Psychers and stuff. He was a jerk.
That's why you need to keep giving him skulls.
That's right. And then you have Red Tide. Red Tide, if you successfully charge with a Khorne Demon unit, you can pop the stratagem, and any other Legion of Skulls unit that charges them gets +2 inches to their charge move.
Really
so
good.
Khorne units already get huge charges with a 3-6-inch charge banner, potentially, so you can really kind of milk that and get some rad
Really good in there.
long-range charges.
Yeah. So, Black Legion.
Yeah. So next section, moving on, Black Legion, baby.
Oh.
So, Black Legion, they're more or less the same as far as their rules go. They have a different name for their objective secured thing. The thing that is important, and this does carry over to the new Codex Chaos Space Marines, Mere Mortals. The Mere Mortals rules means that Chaos Cultists can't benefit from Legion traits anymore.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
So
Especially
sorry for all
with
the
points
folks.
buff that they recently
Right,
got.
and that did not go away. So there are still
Yeah.
5 points a model and have this. So I suspect that you'll be seeing a lot less Chaos Cultists on the table, but hopefully that means more Chaos Space Marines.
Well, they don't really have a lot of models for Chaos Cultists. They haven't put a lot of effort into that. Whereas they've got a lot of models for these brand new Chaos Space Marines and Havocs and
they
stuff.
look
and
sick.
they look good, and they have great rules.
Yeah, dude.
I could see them wanting to do away with that.
Well, also it makes more sense. The Legion traits are there to kind of show how highly trained and specialized these warriors are.
Right.
Jim, that they kidnapped from his milk farm on Agrabah, isn't going to be quite as amazing as Felton, Destroyer of Worlds.
Man, that Felton.
He has destroyed a lot of worlds. 2. So many.
They don't call him Felton the Felcher anymore, do they?
No.
No, they don't.
They moved that on to Destroyer of Worlds.
So they have the same Black Crusaders rule that they did in Codex Chaos Space Marines.
Right.
But they got a bunch of new stratagems and relics and warlord traits. So let's talk about those.
All right.
So Black Legion stratagems, they still have Let the Galaxy Burn, which is still a great stratagem. They have Chosen of the Pantheon. So this lets you basically pick a Black Legion unit that wasn't aligned to a particular god, and they get all the marks.
Wait, what?
Yeah, for that turn.
Yep.
They get all the marks. So they get Korn, Slanesh, Nurgle, and Zinj.
That's super handy.
Hell yeah! Can you imagine buffing them up with all the god-specific chaos powers and/or shooting twice and then fighting twice?
So something like Obliterators, where they do have a close combat weapon now, is you can put that on them, shoot them twice.
Close combat weapon.
Shoot them twice, charge them in, fight them twice.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a thing that could happen.
Looking now, John? Pretty tasty?
I mean, if I can think of 65 reasons they're auto tips.
Anyway, so moving on, we also have the World Killer Stratagem. Now, this is a 3 CP stratagem, so you've got to be thinking to yourself, well, it's got to be good. Well, guess what it is. So,
Thank God.
I had you going there for a second, didn't I?
I was on the edge of my seat for a second. I was like, oh, is it going to be good?
So, what the World Killer Stratagem does, basically, if an objective is in range of any Black Legion models, you use this stratagem, and it doesn't matter if they have OBSEC, it doesn't matter if they have some other cool rule. Black Legion owns that objective. Awesome.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like,
And it says specifically, even if they have a rule that says that they automatically take it, they no longer do that.
Like an end game kind of play, that's a really good way to fuck someone out of some points.
Especially if you're doing like end of game scoring. Yeah. So they have extra relics, same as normal. So they have Merciless Fighters. So if there are more Black Legion models than enemy models within 3 inches of a Black Legion unit, you get +1 attack. So you can kind of game this so you only have like one model or like a few models within 3 inches of the enemy model, like on the tip of a unit, so that you can pop this and get +1 attack for your whole unit for 1 CP.
So that's pretty nice, actually.
They did preview Tip of the Spear, so we'll skip that one. Legacy of Horus. You can use this stratagem at the start of the morale phase to give +1 leadership to any non-Black Legion units within 6 inches of any Black Legion units. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, that was kind of confusing.
So that's like if you have like a soup chaos list.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So you have your Black Legion detachment, and then say if you take like
some Alpha Legion
or like a Thousand Suns detachment.
Well, I don't think Thousand Suns because they don't have the Legion. They don't.
Oh,
have the Legion.
okay. Yeah, I got you.
So they'll get +1, which is great. It shows them being charismatic.
Oh.
And then finally, I love this one.
Guys.
They are.
You shouldn't run away, sir.
Yeah. The Council of Traitors. So they've been doing this stratagem in a couple of books, like they did it in Genestealer Cults, and they did it in...
if you say Dark Eldar, I'm gonna flip this goddamn book.
They did do it in Dark Eldar.
Oh, come on.
So what this does is if you have a Black Legion Chaos Lord, Demon Prince, or Abaddon as your Warlord, you can pick a Dark Apostle and a Sorcerer and give them Warlord traits for 1 CP.
Oh god, I thought for sure you were going...
1 CP?
Yeah, dude.
That's the... I mean, I know, Dave, you were going for the Agents of Vex.
I could have sworn that you're like, it's in the Genestealer Cult, it's in the Dark Eldar book. Oh god, did they give Black Legion Agents of Vex?
But I mean, you're going to see in a second here, like those additional Warlord traits
are legit.
Are legitimate.
Yeah.
1 command point? Holy crap.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
When I have to burn 1 command point for 1 measly relic?
That's a gimme, I think.
Oh.
All right. So the relics, they're okay.
So don't sugarcoat it, Danny. Tell us exactly how you feel
They're
about the
so
relics.
thematic.
No, just kidding.
You didn't.
I actually
so thematic.
they're pretty. They're pretty good. Gorisvex's Teeth is a chainsword. So first of all, this is an upgrade to a 0-point melee weapon, right?
Okay.
Strength user, -3 AP, 2 damage. Pretty good. Also, it lets you take 2 extra attacks.
Instead of 1? That's pretty nice.
Yep. And every time you roll a 2 wound roll of 6, it does a mortal wound in addition to the normal damage.
Now, is that unmodified or?
6+, baby.
Oh.
Of course, it's Chaos, man. They're gonna get all the 6+ rolls.
Is there some kind of veteran style stratagem you can pop to help with that?
So you could do veterans, you can do the priest, you can do... Yeah, John, it turns out that there is.
Dave's gonna type this, title this video, Vigilus Veterans of the Long War.
No, dude, don't do that. I don't want to be associated with that other act. Alright, so... Do you have the Sightless Helm? Sightless Helm is worsen the character's ballistic skill by 1. Mm-hmm. Okay, sure.
Because you can't see. Fair.
Right. Improve their AP by 1. I think that there's probably some cool things that you can do with this. Like if you have a combi flamer, you can give it -1 AP. Or
who cares if you're
yeah, who cares if your ballistic skill is lower, or your melee weapons obviously as well.
Yeah.
I like it. So then Angel's Bane they previewed, which is an amazing combi bolter. That's the one that goes up to 3 damage against Imperial units.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's really good. Code of Conquest is not so good. That's every time you slay an enemy character, add +1 to the bearer's strength attacks and leadership for the rest of the battle.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen super often. They have the Trophies of Slaughter, +1 leadership for friendly Black Legion units within 6, and subtract 1 from the leadership of enemy units while they're within 6. Nah, that's not so good.
Okay.
And then finally the Spine Shiver Blade, which is also just okay. It's a power sword with +1 strength, -3 AP, 1 damage, and you can fight. You get an extra D6 attacks per round with it.
Doesn't sound so bad.
I
mean, none of the relics. Well, I mean, the Angel's Bane is pretty solid.
It's really good. I like the Chainsword too.
The Chainsword is good, but I don't know.
I think it's solid.
Are you giving a Chainsword to your main leader though?
If I'm going to give him that relic, I am.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, but you're probably taking a Thunderhammer.
Let's be honest. I'm thinking like, well, yeah, but you might be trying to save points. So I think it's a great relic on like an Exalted Champion.
Okay.
If you're going to pay 1 CP for it, I think it's good. That way you're giving him a bunch of extra attacks, and he's rerolling failed to wound rolls, so you're getting those 6s more often.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. Alright. Warlord traits. These Warlord traits are fantastic. So, Veteran Raider lets you fall back and still charge within 6 inches. Amazing.
Wow. Okay.
That's great. Indomitable makes your guy into Abaddon for resiliency, so he takes half damage from attacks.
Damn, that's really nice.
Yep. Black Crad Brute is +1 strength, and whenever your Warlord makes a charge move, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch and a 4+, they take D3 mortal wounds as he bowls them over. Then you have Soul Eater. Whenever you destroy an enemy unit, your Warlord immediately regains D3 lost wounds. That one's kind of cool on like a Chaos Sorcerer, because it doesn't say in melee.
So
you can smite them to death or shoot them to death. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Trusted War Leader is the money shot. It's exactly the same as Grand Strategist.
What?
So that's awesome.
So on a 5+, you get a command point.
Yep, except you don't get the free reroll, I guess, that Grand Strategist gives you.
Grand Strategist gives you a free reroll?
Yeah, it also gives you that.
I mean, I knew that.
And then they all have First Among Traitors, which is Abaddon's old one, which is the same in the Black Legion special one, which means Death to the False Emperor procs on a 5 instead of a 6, within 6 inches of him. So,
okay.
Which is really good if you're playing against Imperium. It makes Abaddon a beast, like, against Imperial units. Like, he gets, like, 10 attacks usually, so...
And I think like those are such good warlord traits combined with that command point
the
stratagem from Black Legion.
Yeah.
Like you can give your sorcerer the wound regen one. You can give your warlord the
Well, you can give him the veteran raider and all of the units within
or
6
Indomitable.
But so you essentially have 3 of those
fall
traits.
Fall back in charge with everything.
Yeah.
That
awesome.
Good lord.
All right, and then to me, we're going to get to probably the most exciting part of the book. Like, before this stuff was cool...
More exciting than Abaddon?
Dude, we're just amping it up.
More exciting than the Havocs?
Renegades.
Oh.
All right.
Did I mention that I was giving up Custodes and starting Renegades?
All right, Nate.
So...
I didn't say Eldar.
The Renegades are basically the same as... Like, this is the same rules that most of the other chapters have, or legions have.
Right.
That part has not really changed. They do have a caveat for shadowy allies, which I found interesting that Black Legion did not. So I'm not sure that Black Legion gets a count as being a Black Legion detachment if they have Fallen or Fabius Bile in their army. So something to think about.
Okay. They still have mere mortals though.
They do. Yep. Which is great. I think that's just fine. It's Codex Chaos Space Marines, not Codex Chaos Cultists. So, Renegade traits. We covered Red Corsairs and Crimson Slaughter, but I want to go over Red Corsairs for just a moment because it's actually pretty critical. So, this basically gives you bonus command points for taking a Red Corsairs army. So if you take a detachment of Red Corsairs, If you have at least 3 Red Corsairs units in the detachment, they get +1 command point. If you have 3 Chaos Space Marine units in there, so that's the base Chaos Space Marine squad, they get +3 command points instead.
So you turn a battalion from 5 to 8.
Yeah.
Hey, is there some kind of veteran-y long war-y thing that you could probably use a shitload of command points for?
Yeah, or even better, the Red Corsairs stratagem, which we'll get to in a moment.
Ooh.
So let's talk about the other Renegade traits. So they've got the Purge, which John covered in our little background on in our last podcast, where you can re-roll to hit rolls for attacks made by units with this trait that target enemy units that have lost 1 or more wounds this turn. That's actually really good. Like, if you think about it, if you do a wound to a unit and then attack it, you get to reroll misses.
So, like, if you smite a unit in the psychic phase and do a single wound, then
your whole army gets to reroll against that unit. That's actually good.
It's really good.
Yeah. Then you have the Scourge, super powerful trait, right? You can reroll 1 to hit roll for this unit every time it shoots or fights. Great. They also Overwatch on 5s.
Yeah, I love Overwatching on 5s.
That's great.
Scourged Havocs.
Right? Yeah. Good.
With the assault guns, the big new chain guns. Oh,
yeah.
That's fun.
It is.
That's fun.
I think so. Then you have Brazen Beasts. The Brazen Beasts are the guys.
Favorite.
Yeah, they're cool.
I mean,
So anytime they make a wound roll of 6+, that attack is generated at -4 AP.
So is that in combat or
in combat? Anytime that they have charged, were charged, or heroically intervened.
So it's like shuriken pistols, but in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They get rending.
Well, and good.
Way to age us, Danny.
You're welcome. And then finally we've got Flawless Host, which is Death to the Imperfect. So, Death to the Imperfect, anytime you make it to hit roll of 6+ for an attack made by a model with this trait in the fight phase, they immediately get to make another attack against the same unit with the same weapon, in addition to Death to the False Emperor. These attacks can generate further attacks. So, it's kind of a cool way to proc some extra attacks, and if you have prescience on them, that means they get to do it on 5s, which is really nice. Yep, so they can get a bunch of attacks. Alright, so let's talk about traits.
Anything good in the traits, Danny?
Actually, yeah, there's some really great ones. Alright, so we have Red Corsairs, we have Reaver Lord. You get a free relic. Cool. And anytime your Warlord kills a character, they get +1 attack. That's amazing. How great is that?
Yeah, that's really good.
And if you're on Blackheart's Warlord, he does get the Reaver Lord trait instead of the one that he gets in the Chaos Space Marine book. Then Crimson Slaughter is -1 leadership for enemies within 6. If the Warlord kills anybody, then it becomes -2 within 9. So a nice little debuff there. That's from all the ghosts swirling around him.
Ooh,
Yeah,
spooky.
Spooky slaughter.
Hella spook. All right. Then you have the Purge. The Purges again is pretty good.
You seem surprised by this. Most of the Death Guard stuff, Nurgle stuff in the past has been good. It's not.
So in my first read through, I thought the Purge, I was like, who cares? And then I read them again, and they're like decent. So Blessed Mission is reroll 1s to wound with your Warlord, and they get to reroll damage rolls. So that's great. Yeah. Reroll damage rolls and reroll 1s to wound and rerolls to hit. That sounds like a winning combination in my book. I like rerolls.
Yeah.
So then the Scourge, God, their Warlord trait is so good. The Scourged is the Vexator Mask, or it's the same as Vexator Mask, or the...
that is really good.
Yeah, or the, the Armor of Rust. Except it's 3 inches instead of 6. But it's a Warlord trait, so it doesn't take up a relic slot. So you just embed this guy in the middle of your army, and if they charge like your big unit, like your screening unit,
That's Scourged?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's great. Brazen Beasts is anytime your Warlord slays an enemy character, add 2 to the Warlord's attacks and strength characteristic.
So fun.
Yeah, they're just beat face, man.
Do you think you could stack that with the Executioner and make the Executioner your Warlord?
Sure. Absolutely.
Just killing characters.
Yeah,
left and right.
just trying to kill as many characters as you could. I mean, I think it'd be better on a Demon Prince, but you know, you can do what you want, Dave.
I'm just saying. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying. It's just just the thought of that guy running across the battlefield, just getting bigger and bigger as he kills stuff.
Yeah, and so that's a cool ability too for him because he gets ×2 strength from his axe.
Right.
So he'll be strength 12 the first time he kills a character, and then strength 16 the next time.
Real quick, going back to Black Legion and Chaos Cultists and that new rule.
Yeah.
Not in the new Chaos Space Marine Codex.
Mere Mortals isn't?
Mere Mortals is not in the Chaos Space Marine
no,
Codex.
go to go to the section right before the stratagems.
Yeah, all the way at the back.
Oh, then cut this part out.
No. You think I
There
do
it is.
editing on
There.
these
All right,
videos?
cool.
All right, so moving on. Finally, Flawless Host. Instead of getting 1 extra attack from their trait, he gets 3 every time he does a 6+ to hit.
Wait, I think I have something for that. Neat.
It's flawless, dude.
Oh.
All right,
Does that stack with his 6+ to hit gets an extra attack?
no, it makes
Well,
it his
it's
6+ to hit makes 3 instead of 1.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the stratagems. And the first one is really freaking good. It's the Red Corsairs one. More where they came from. 3 CP. Use a stratagem at the end. Well, yeah, it's got to be good, right?
Right.
Use a stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Pick a Red Corsairs Chaos Space Marines unit from your army that's on the battlefield. Remove it from the battlefield. Set it wholly within 6 inches of the edge of the battlefield and more than 9 inches from the enemy at full starting strength. So remember when I talked about before you want to have a 20-man unit of Chaos Space Marines? This is the reason why.
Neat.
So for 3 CP, you can regenerate a huge unit of Chaos Space Marines and have it flank. And unlike Tide of Traitors, there is no limit to the number of times that you can do this.
Yet.
Fair. But yeah, so the other ones that are similar to this, you have Green Tide from Orcs, which is once per game. And also there's one for Dark Eldar that lets you do it to a unit of Rax. But there's nothing that lets you get that much utility back from a unit yet.
It's huge because that's almost only like 260, 270 points wise.
So it's
I know.
260.
260, right?
Yeah, for the squad with no upgrades.
Oh, I thought you were doing it for the whole battalion to get
No,
the extra.
with 0 upgrades
Yeah.
that you can then replace anywhere you want.
Yep, as long as they're close to the edge of the board. Solid.
Solid.
Yep.
Let me just go ahead and last turn line breaker here, and there they are, right there in the back of your.
Yeah, or they're right there ready to rapid fire the enemy
Yeah.
with their bolters. Anyway,
Bolter rules.
so they have Life is Worthless from the Purge. They previewed that in GW. That lets you shoot into combat.
Right.
Pretty good.
Yep.
Burning Demon Heart from Brazen Beasts. Use it at the end of the fight phase. Pick an enemy unit within 1 inch of a Brazen Beast Demon Engine. Roll a d6. On a 2 to 4, the unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 5 or 6, it suffers 3 flat. So that's a nice little bonus if your Demon Engine is fighting something tough. Terrifying Phenomena, which is the Crimson Slaughter stratagem. Use the stratagem at the start of the enemy shooting phase. Pick a terrain feature that within 12 inches of the Crimson Slaughter unit in your army. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units within 3 inches of that terrain feature until the end of the phase. This one's actually pretty good if your opponent has like a castle. So you can just...
It's very Tau.
Sure. Tau, yeah, mostly I would say like Tau, Guard, maybe Orcs, so they
Maybe
have to
some of
use
those
more
annoying
DACA.
new Space Marine snipers.
Yeah, sure. Or if your opponent has the Havocs. Of course, the Havocs would just move away
The
probably.
only thing that beats chaos is more chaos.
More chaos. We went over Prescience for the Scourged already. And then finally, We Cannot Fail is the Flawless Host one, which lets you re-roll failed hit rolls in the combat phase for 1 unit for 1 CP. Which is a nice little bonus.
Yeah, for like I said, frees up a Lord from having to stand around
Sure.
and make sure
Yeah.
they hit.
Yeah, or a Dark Apostle Prayer or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Very
right.
solid.
Yeah. Then we have artifacts. Now, these artifacts are not great. Maelstrom's Bite.
Thematic.
Maelstrom's Bite is great. It's the Red Corsairs one, which is the custom Melta, which is
Yeah, that's
24 inches, rapid fire 3, strength 4, -1, 2 flat, or a strength 9 Melta gun.
I mean,
Or both.
It's or both, but -1 to hit if you do.
Sure, why not?
I mean, it's pretty good.
If you're within 12, I'm doing it all day long. That's what she said. All right. So then they have Blade of the Relentless, which is the Crimson Slaughter artifact. It's a +1 strength power sword. If you slay any models with this weapon in the fight phase, then at the end of the fight phase until the end of the battle, wound rolls with this weapon are automatically successful.
All right.
It's okay.
So if you hit, you auto wound at -3.
And this is Crimson Slaughter?
Yeah.
So, murder sword-ish. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, all right. It's only 1 damage, though, so I mean, you're not running around doing tons of...
But it's going to finish stuff off. That's the important part.
Especially if you have 4 or 5 attacks or something like that. Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Orb of Unlife is the Purge. So you throw the orb with it. So you throw it. You can throw it 8 inches.
So it's an evil holy hand grenade?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Unholy hand grenade.
Roll a d6 for each unit within d6 inches of that point within 8. Subtracting 2 if it's a vehicle. On a 4-up, the unit takes d3 mortal wounds. It's all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Book of Untruth for the Scourged. Each time an enemy psyker within 18 inches successfully manifests a psychic power, roll a d6. On a 5-up, they take a mortal wound. It's okay.
Okay.
Demon Flesh Plate is a Brazen Beasts model. You get a 2-up armor save, and add 1 to the bearer's move and attack. So if you stick that on that, what is it, the Lord Executioner?
Yeah.
That makes him 6 attacks. It's kind of cool.
Wow. All right. That's pretty good.
And then the Flawless Cloak for Flawless Host. It's
Say that 3 times fast.
It's the add 1 to his bearer's attacks characteristic because it's a cloak that heals itself, and that means that he gets that for some reason. But it also increases the range of his aura abilities by 3 inches, which is actually really cool.
That's really solid. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of ends our review of Vigilus Ablaze.
The comp side of Vigilus Ablaze.
That's right. Yeah. Importantly, that distinction.
Honestly, there's too much lore in here. We don't have a 4-hour video. Nobody's going to watch a 4-hour lore video, which is what would happen if we went over all the lore.
But they'll listen to a 4-hour podcast.
So expect soon the 4-hour podcast, Vigilus Ablaze, the lore. No, don't do that.
The lore ending.
The lore ending.
So collect all the Vigilus books.
Yeah,
complete your set.
So Vigilus Defiant focused very heavily on Imperium, kind of brought Calgar back into the fray, added some new stuff there. The thing in between Shadow Spear, bridged between to Vigilus Ablaze to complete the series. Vigilus Ablaze, pretty much entirely a Chaos book.
Yeah. Yep. It is. However, the lore stuff that's in there is
good for anybody.
It's great. And the missions are awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And the battle zones and stuff like that, I really want to try those out.
So there's a mission in there that takes place after Calgar makes one of his moves. That basically is the entire board is on fire and slowly burning out one side.
Awesome.
And you're just fighting through the fire, and we gotta live to kill the chaos. The bad
That sounds
guys.
amazing.
Dude, it totally does. You should own both of these books.
Absolutely.
If you're a comp guy, these books are great. They're seeing amazing amounts of... Well, this one is seeing amazing amounts of play already. I mean, there were tons of detachments down at LVO. There will be tons of detachments at Adepticon, which is coming up. And this one, I'm not sure yet, but there's a lot of stuff in here I could definitely see.
There are so many little tricks in this book here that it's unreal.
I think so.
And if you already own Codex Chaos Space Marines, this is all you need to get all the rules for all the new models, plus some free files from GW's web store.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They are free to download, or if you have the digital version on release date, it will update automatically.
Which is really cool.
That's really cool of them to do that. I mean, normally you'd pay for DLC for something like that. So.
But it's not going to have a little 2.
And that's what you want.
Dude, I love that too. Makes me so happy. When are they going to do version 2 of the Codex Chaos Cultists, though? That's what I'm waiting for.
Never.
Never. There are going to be 8 points a model come December.
Discontinued.
And they will do negative modifiers to everything.
Ouch.
All right.
Yeah.
So this has been another edition of Danny's Hot Takes. So check us out on Facebook, YouTube, iTunes. You can subscribe to any of those that you would like to. You can like us on Facebook. You can like our videos. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter, where I have various handles. Those will be included at the end of it here.
And we also have a Patreon. We don't ask for anything. You know what? We have a $1 tier. That's it. If you want to support us, go right ahead. If you don't,
go right ahead.
Also good. Although I have to tell you, we did just release probably one of the most viralist videos that's happening for our Patreons just recently. So,
but we're not gonna overhype it.
I can't not overhype this video. I'm so happy. This video makes. I've probably, I probably watched it 200 times.
Oh boy. All right.
So, I guess.
So
that's
thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. And I've been Dave, Danny, and we've got John this time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Bye.